Our next bout is a welterweight bout, again at 170. We'll have the debut of Jonathan Blackwell, and he'll go up against Lee Sandusky. It's Oglethorpe, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, taking on Columbus, Georgia, in our next bout. Let's go to the cage and Jennifer.
Our next bout of the evening is in the welterweight division, brought to you by Bud Light. First, please welcome to the cage, Jonathan Blackwell.
Jonathan Blackwell, first out of Core One Fitness in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. He'll be taking on Lee Sandusky. You see the walkout of Jonathan Blackwell. Casey, what do you think about Blackwell?
Well, of course, fighting out of that Core One Fitness camp, not too far from here, just a few miles. Of course, we remember Core One as being the home of Bubba Cruz. And other than that, what can you really say about this guy? Blackwell, he is a debut. He looks pretty well put together. So I'm excited to see this one.
Yeah, Blackwell, teammates with Kelly Payne, who was originally supposed to be on this card in a heavyweight bout. And Blackwell, from down the road, he had that Bubba Cruz fight, which certainly is noteworthy for him, but he's out of the same camp. But Jonathan Blackwell, very familiar with a lot of folks here down the road. He'll be taking on Lee Sandusky. Just a quick word on Sandusky coming up in just a moment. We'll tell you about him as Blackwell is in the cage. Go back to Jennifer.
And his opponent making his way to the cage, please welcome Les Sandusky.
Les Sandusky, 1-1 out of Bad Apple MMA in Columbus, Georgia. Casey, tell us about Sandusky.
Well, this is a guy that is synonymous with the Conflict MMA promotion. All of his fights have taken place with Conflict MMA. Of course, he's coming off a big decision victory over Jamar Tarver back at Conflict 28, and now he is back to do big things in possibly one of the biggest events of the year.
Take a look at the tail of the tape when worlds collide in Rome, Georgia. Jonathan Blackwell, Les Sandusky. Blackwell 6 years younger. Blackwell weighed in at 168, Sandusky at 171 for this 170-pound bout. Blackwell an inch taller than Sandusky, and these two seem to be pretty evenly matched, although when you look at the fight predictions on Tapology, it was all Sandusky, Casey.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, he's the one that has the experience, and experience goes a long way. You know, especially in that amateur career, a lot of learning to be done there.
Sandusky's in the cage, making his rounds. Eye contact with Blackwell. We go to the cage at Jennifer.
This bout is scheduled for three 3-minute rounds. First, fighting out of the blue corner, he weighed in at 168 pounds. Represents Core One Fitness in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. And tonight he is making his MMA debut, Jonathan Blackwell. And his opponent across the cage to my left, fighting out of the red corner. He weighed in at 171 pounds. Holds a record of 1 win with 1 loss. And represents Bad Apple MMA in Columbus, Georgia, Les Sandusky. Your referee when the action begins is Jeff Kemp.
Jeff Kemp, our referee in this 170-pound welterweight bout. It's presented by Bud Light. Jonathan Blackwell in the long black trunks. Les Sandusky in the short black trunks. 3-minute rounds here in Rome, Georgia. When worlds collide, we're underway.
Les Sandusky right out of the gate, closing the distance here.
Let's work, Les.
Front face lock.
Sandusky, an animal in and out of the cage, a military guy.
North, south, north, friend. Okay,
and now advances. Blackwell attaining half guard position. It's not necessarily a good spot in mixed martial arts, though. Sandusky can do a lot of damage from here.
Let's pass to the mount.
Sandusky's camp, Bad Apple MMA. They won a lot of gold in Conflict MMA. One of the most successful camps with fighters in Conflict
All
MMA.
right, posture. I need your posture.
Columbus, Georgia.
Right in the chest. Zyphoid.
Minute gone by in round one.
Zyphoid.
Scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds at 170
There we go,
pounds
buddy.
here,
We got
live on
great
Flow
finds. We
Combat.
got great finds happening.
And again, Sandusky with great control here. A lot of pressure.
We got it.
He's in the mount position and just staying heavy here.
Give it to me,
Now,
Fred.
of course, once you've advanced to mount, you really are in the driver's seat. You can do anything you want. Very seldom do you see a fighter stood up from a dominant position like this. So I expect Sandusky to take his time here and look for the submission.
We can transition to Americana.
Sandusky's last fight, a loss to Antoine Mosley.
Get our great find.
Oh, here we go. Sandusky looking for that Americana lock. Props to Blackwell for keeping those arms tight here.
Yep.
That loss by Mosley was back in August
Let's give me a punch.
of 2006.
Oh, here we go. A reversal by Jonathan Blackwell. And these fighters are back to the feet here.
Again, the aggressor is Sandusky.
Wow, Sandusky is just relentless. Maybe a triangle choke here. Now he's gonna have to switch the legs to get the tap out. And a big slam.
Didn't get released, though. They're trying to slide out.
Yeah, possibly an omoplata. Sandusky slips it, and he is back in charge here in crossbody position.
100 kilos.
Now, a word to the wise.
100 kilos.
It appears that Blackwell still has the neck of Lee Sandusky. Sandusky may want to wait a little bit before trying to advance to mount. It's hard to gain your position.
He's out.
But just as I said, he removes his head.
Not much time to work here in the final seconds of round one. And they'll finish with Sandusky on top. Wow. So, Sandusky in round one.
Undoubtedly, great control and a lot of pressure by Lee Sandusky. And that's how you win here in mixed martial arts, especially early in your career. You got to get the jump on your opponent and keep that pressure on.
Mentioned Sandusky's loss. That was almost a year ago, about 11 months ago to Antoine Mosley. Prior to that, he won his amateur MMA debut over Jamar Tarver. But that was back in 2015, so he's had some time. Take us to his replay.
Well, here we see, again, just relentless pressure by Lee Sandusky. For a moment, I thought that Blackwell might have locked in a triangle. You see the legs are actually reversed here. And, of course, he went for that ride. There it is, Lee Sandusky with that slam.
Ready for round number 2 here at When Worlds Collide. Conflict MMA and Valor fights getting together. The Forum River Center. We're live on Flow Combat. Again, Blackwell in the long black trunks, Sandusky in the short black trunks. 3-3-minute rounds presented by Bud Light here at 170 pounds. In Rome, Georgia, Vince Ferrara, Casey Oxendine, cage side. And Jeff Kemp, our referee, says, let's go. No touch of gloves, and Sandusky on the prowl, but he eats a shot to start out round 2.
And again, Blackwell attempting to land a few shots, but the pressure of Les Sandusky just too much. He corners Blackwell here and continues to toll forward, looking for that takedown. Most definitely.
Look up, Les. Look up. Look up.
Corner giving instructions to Sandusky, look up, and a low blow. And it was on a knee, Sandusky to Blackwell. And Blackwell will get 5 minutes. It didn't really seem to faze him initially too much. I don't think he'll take much time here. We'll see. And Jeff Kemp warning Les Sandusky.
When jockeying for position there in that tight clinch, you really have to watch. I always push for guys that train at my gym to roll those knees from side to side rather than bringing up, because those low blows can occur in close quarters. See Blackwell coming out of the gate, throwing a big right hand. We're seeing a little bit of of the exchanges on the outside here for the first time. And just as I say it, Les Sandusky closing the distance again.
Sandusky with those long legs, sticking knees to the body of Blackwell.
What one might call making it a dirty fight.
And stay dirty up against the cage.
Oh, here we go. Sandusky successful in taking it to the ground yet again, landing on top in half guard position.
And again, let's review changes in the state of Georgia in terms of amateur MMA, what they can and can't do.
Well, of course, on the ground here with your first 3 mixed martial arts bout, you are unable to ground and pound to the head. So you'll see shots from Sandusky to the body, to the legs, to the ribs. No elbows, not even to the body in these matches. So it does change the angle of the game somewhat. And, of course, the shin guards, which are evident here.
Just under a minute left in round number 2. Sandusky winning round 1 on Casey's scorecard, unofficial. And now trying to advance is Sandusky.
Something I would like to see out of Blackwell is to get that underhook. He actually had the left underhook for a short period of time. Get that and get onto his right side, looking to possibly get to his base. As long as he stays on bottom here, there's no way he can win this round in my estimation.
He threatened with the triangle earlier. And now Sandusky lets him up.
Here we go. And just as he does, Sandusky right back on him. Great cardio from Les Sandusky. Takes a lot of energy to continue that toll.
That's the end of round 2. Casey, how would you score that round?
Well, undoubtedly Sandusky again. He ended up on top. And although Jonathan Blackwell had a little bit better showing in that matchup, or in that round, just not enough to negate the pressure and the takedowns of Les Sandusky. In my estimation, Jonathan Blackwell needs to finish here in the 3rd.
So if you're Blackwell, what type of strategy in his corner are you telling him right now for this 3rd round? Obviously you need a finish, but what will get him that?
Well, the thing is that it appears as though Blackwell wants to stand out at a distant range and strike. Every time he does that, Sandusky closes the distance and puts the pressure on. Blackwell needs to put the pressure on himself. Keep Les Sandusky on his heels. Otherwise, you're going to get what you got right here in this replay, with Sandusky putting the pressure on and landing those takedowns and getting into those dominant positions.
We did see once from his back Blackwell be able to threaten with a submission, but
it was short-lived.
Yeah, it was short-lived, you're right. And Sandusky was able to escape, and then he continued on top. The moments standing up, maybe a little bit of an advantage to Sandusky in the stand-up game as he acknowledges us here cage side. Vince Ferrara, Casey Oxendine. Round 3 underway, and they exchange kicks in the center of the cage.
Look at that. You should see that a mile away.
Now again, you see Blackwell continuing to kind of maintain that center range. As soon as Sandusky puts that pressure on, he's going to be in trouble. So again, it's very important that Blackwell keep the pressure on himself and then look for that finish. Not a good spot here for Jonathan Blackwell.
Sandusky.
Posture, D to D, Les, D to D. Yes. Stay north, my friend.
Top.
Again, we discussed it before. Les Sandusky, a veteran of Conflict MMA, one of the top promotions in the entire United States. You know, they travel all over the country, putting on big events and delighting the fans.
Okay, good. Side control, give me 100
And Les Sandusky, possibly one of those future stars.
Sandusky with a military background, described as an animal inside the cage and out. And he has been the aggressor and been the most successful in this fight to this point as we near the midway mark in round number 3.
It's not there without out your hands under his left shoulder blade.
Do you like
Yes, my friend,
Sandusky,
that's it.
what the work he's doing here? Would you like to see him maybe advance in a different area?
I think that Sandusky really, it's up to him whatever he wants to do at this point because he is in that dominant position. It's really hard for him to do a whole lot with the ground and pound because there are no shots to the head in this fight. So really, it is up to Jonathan Blackwell to take control here and finish this fight because, again, in my estimation, Sandusky up 2 rounds and really in charge here in the last minute, moving into the last minute of round 3.
Just don't get submitted at this point, right? Can ride this out. Blackwell's got to have some urgency, though.
And I would say in a standard mixed martial arts contest, standard rules, Sandusky would be really delivering a lot of shots there to the head. That would be wide open. We don't get that here, so Sandusky is reserved to a lot of pressure here and maintaining position.
To Georgia fighters here in Rome, Georgia. The worlds collide at the Forum River Center.
Now, as I was going to say that, Blackwell out. Less than 20 seconds to get the job done. Can he do it?
Sandusky's down. 10 seconds left in the fight.
Blackwell on top. Can he steal this fight?
Great job by Sandusky.
Here we go. You hear the crowd erupt.
Could not get the sub. And we've reached the end of the fight. We'll go to the judges' scorecards here in Rome. Wow, a little threat there by Blackwell late.
Yeah.
Made it interesting.
Yeah, and you saw everybody go nuts up in those stands.
He put Sandusky down and then tried to sub him.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, I'm certain that Jonathan Blackwell has a lot of fans in the house. I don't think that he did enough to get the victory tonight, but he definitely did not embarrass himself. He put on an excellent fight, and he moves on and gains experience here.
Take us to the
Yeah,
replay.
well, there you see it. The best drive of the night for Jonathan Blackwell, looking for the finish. But it's Les Sandusky with the reversal. He maintains, and again, in my estimation, he takes it 30-27.
Sandusky, a character. And pretty confident that he's picked up a victory on the judges' scorecards to up his record above 500 at 2-1. We'll find out here momentarily. That Bad Apple MMA camp has had tremendous success with Conflict MMA. We mentioned earlier that's where Sandusky has spent his MMA career to this point. And then Jonathan Blackwell, who in his camp at Core One Fitness, we've seen a lot of their fighters in Valor fights, and they have all different types of fighters in that camp, including Kelly Payne, who was originally supposed to be on this card but had to withdraw. So I think the future's bright for both of these guys.
Yeah, undoubtedly, and a great way, again, to get the show started. This is kind of an appetizer, but it's a very tasty one.
We'll see if 30-year-old Les Sandusky gets the victory on the judges' scorecards. It's the younger Jonathan Blackwell. Since we get the fighters organized, I guess we're not going to get that. Let's go to the cage and Jennifer. I was waiting on the fighters.
Here we go.
Now we're ready. Let's go to Jennifer in the cage.
After 3 hard-fought rounds, we go to your judges' scorecard for decision. All 3 judges scores this bout 27-30 for your winner by unanimous decision. Out of the red corner, Les Sandusky.